In this video, we're going to take a look at the techniques required in the basic martial arts program for the yellow stripe. So it's going to be the first set of material that students will be required to know in order to earn their yellow tip. So first thing we're going to start off with is bowing and then our stances, right? So when we bow, we want to put our feet all the way together. We want to put our hands at our side and we want to have our eyes up. And when we bow, we want to bow, eyes up, and then come right back up, just like that, right? Now this stance that I'm in here is called a tension stance. And when we're in a tension stance, our feet are all the way together, no space. We don't want our feet out like this. We want our hands at our side. And so when we call a tension, students might be in a rest position or in a natural stance. They're going to bring their feet together and they're going to clap their hands to their side and they'll say, yes, sir. So it looks like this. Attention. Yes, sir. That's our first stance. The next stance that we're going to do is our resting stance, or what we call rest position. In rest position, we actually want to move our leg over and put our hands behind our backs. We are in a natural stance, feet about a shoulder width apart. Hands are right in the center of our backs. If you can see, my hands are here. I don't want them down like this. I want my hands here. This is a natural stance where if you're listening to an instructor's discussion, we're just kind of standing there and we don't want to be fidgeting and messing with our belt and what have you. So hands are behind your back in a nice, strong rest position. So if we're going from rest position to attention, you would be in rest position. We would call attention. Yes, sir. You go to rest position. Yes, sir. So this is our rest position. The next stance we want to cover is our basic fighting stance. We're going to talk about some details with it. In the fighting stance, we want our feet to be a shoulder width apart. And we actually want our right leg to step back about a shoulder width. So you'll see there's a space between my legs. What I don't want to do is bring my feet together. There's a space between my legs. My back foot is going to be pointed off at a 45-degree angle, somewhat forward. My front foot is pointed straight ahead. I don't want my foot pointed at an angle. It makes it difficult to throw, all of our kicking techniques, and you would have to turn your foot first to be able to execute that. So the front foot points forward, the back foot points off at a 45-degree angle. Both of our knees are bent and our guards are up. Now, putting our guards up, we want to talk about how we do this properly. If my hands are out or my elbows are down, I'm not really defending myself. I call this like a roof. A lot of students do this as a beginner, and it's a little bit of a mistake in that my ribs are still exposed and my face is still exposed. So though I might feel like I have defense, I don't really. I want to keep my elbows close to my body, and my hands need to be up at least to my jawline. It's also okay to go this high. That's perfectly okay, but you want your hands to be somewhere in here, elbows close to your body, and this is your fighting stance, right? So if we're going to go through those stances again, if I go to attention, yes, sir. Rest position, yes, sir. Fighting stance, we're going to do something different. We're going to do a kia, right? So if I'm in rest position here and I step back to my fighting stance, there's my guards up. Elbows in close, foot is in position, space between the legs, and that's my basic stance. There's one other stance that we do when we're doing our training. It's called a twist stance. In the twist stance, it's how I'm able to move my hips, right? If I stay in this stance and I throw a punch with my other hand, you don't see it from this angle, but if I turn from the side, I'm actually not getting very good reach, right? If I punch with my front hand, throwing a jab, and I throw a punch with my back hand, if I don't twist my body, it's not going to be able to reach the same distance. I'm not going to get the proper power that I need, and so it's important to learn how to do that to keep your balance. So when I do a twist stance, I'm actually going to rotate my back foot on the ball of the foot. It allows my hips to rotate the other way, and it allows my hand to reach further. So if I'm throwing a straight punch or a jab, and then if I throw my cross, my hips will rotate and turn. It's what we call a twist stance. Looking at it from the front, twisting here, it's important not to lean. So you don't want to twist and be leaning. You want to twist and keep your body upright as I twist. The other thing that you're going to do is a lot of people, when they punch, they're going to end up going over here. Make sure you're focusing to go straight out, right? So the hand's going to go straight out and come back as I do my twist stance, doing any twisting motion. This might be it for a hook punch or for a straight punch, right? So the four stances: attention, yes, sir. Rest position, yes, sir. Fighting stance, aya, and then our twisting stance. We're throwing some sort of technique, all right? And the next thing that we're going to take a look at in the yellow stripe that a student needs to know how to do is going to be basic blocking techniques. We're going to do those from a basic stance, right? So we're going to be in our fighting stance. We have our guards up. There are 3 basic blocks and then 3 kind of defensive techniques. We don't really call them blocks, right? So if I'm doing a rising block, my hand's going to come across my body. We typically say touch the elbow, but I just want my hand to come across my body so that it can travel up properly, right? So I want to make sure my hand can travel up. It's also important to make sure your hand isn't flat. I want the hand to be at a 45-degree angle, so if something hits it, it drives off. It also engages the proper muscles on the back and the shoulder to make the block stronger. Here, you're just focusing on using the arm and not really engaging the bigger muscle groups. So when I do a rising block, my hand comes over and up. So if I'm here, block. That's my rising block, right? So if I'm doing a chop block, my hand is again going to move something from in front of me out of the way to the side. So that was going up. The next block is going to go to the side, and we're going to actually bring our hand here and block across the body, right? So this might be a hook punch that's coming in, or a straight punch that's coming in, so the block goes here and across the body. The second hand being in this protected position. So, rising block, chop block, and then the last block that we do is called a low block. When I do a low block, my hand is going to go back to the chop block position, but I'm actually going to block low to my body. Now, there's two ways to do this block. I can block with my hand open, and what I'm actually going to do is use the part of my hand here to sweep a leg across my body, or I can use the hand closed, and I can actually hit with the outside of my arm, blocking this way. Both of them are perfectly okay. So when you're training, you might do an open block to block a kick across your body, or your hand is closed, and you're going to be doing some sort of strike towards the leg. So let's take a look at those again. Rising block, chop block, low block. All right, if I did the other side, rising block, chop block, low block. So when you practice, you want to make sure that you're able to do each of them. And I recommend doing them about 10 times. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And you're going to repeat that for each of the blocks, going through your basic blocking techniques. The last part of your basic training is going to be learning how to do straight techniques, or what we call straight attacks, and that includes the jab, the cross, and the front kick, right? So if I'm back in my fighting stance again, the jab is always the front hand, and the cross is always the back hand. So how do I know that? If I'm in my stance, whichever leg is closest to wherever my opponent would be, the hand that corresponds with that side of your body would be the front, and the leg that's in the back, or the one that's away from the opponent, would be the other hand, right? That would be your backhand in terms of throwing your technique. Now, an important aspect of throwing a proper punch is to keep your elbows close to your body, and also how to make a fist. So I'm going to show you a little bit on how to make a fist. Whenever you take your hand and you're wanting to make a fist, I want to curl my first set of fingers and keep them close. Then I'm going to curl those fingers in again, and then my thumb goes only over the first finger. So there's a couple of things that are important here. If I start to go too far, you will see that the hand starts to change shape, and I want to try to keep the hand in a square shape. The other thing is, the first two knuckles are super tight. The last two knuckles are not as tight. They're a little bit looser. If I actually tighten the last two, the pinky and the index finger, then you're also going to end up with that same kind of misshapen fist. So those two fingers are not quite as tight as the first two. When you punch, you're focused on punching with these first two knuckles here. So as you strike into a target, that's what you want to do. And you want to make sure that your hand is straight down the line this way, from this knuckle to the bone, and not curved, right? So if I'm punching and I want my wrist curved, I want my wrist to be a little bit straighter to be able to go into the target. Now the way you want to practice keeping your punches close to your body is by keeping your elbows down, right? So we talked about this from a fighting stance, keeping the elbows down. So if I bring my hands straight out and back. Now, a good way to practice that is the traditional way, and bringing your hands to your chamber to your body. The elbow will rub next to your body like so. So if I'm punching out, and then I bring it back. Now I can punch out, and I can bring it back. When you begin, you want to do one hand at a time. So you'll do 10 of them. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Checking that hand is in position. All right, a little bit more advanced, you'll be able to put 2 together. So ready, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can do 10 of those. And then a little bit more advanced way, if you're finding these easy, is to do 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the difficulty is that this changes, right? So punch, punch, 3, punch, punch, 3. So my hands change out. It allows me to practice both sides. Once you master that and keeping the elbows close to your body, then you will do it from a front stance, or sorry, from your fighting stance here. Guards are up, elbows in, you can throw your jab, you can throw your cross, doing, again, that twist stance we talked about before. All right? The last technique required for the yellow stripe is what we call a front kick. In a front kick, there are 4 steps to any kicking technique. And those steps are fold, kick, refold, and down. So if you're taking a look at the back leg, I want to fold my kick, refold, put my foot down. So from the side, fold, kick, refold, down. What I don't want to do is a straight leg style kick, and I don't want to kick and then let my foot come down. It needs to chamber and snap at the top of that position before I bring the foot down. In order to practice this where you just focus on the legs, we're actually going to step back into our stance. You want to make the back leg a little bit stronger going forward, right? So we're going to adjust to a little bit of a forward stance, which means I'm going to bend my front knee a little bit more so my weight's already forward. And that way I can focus my attention on the kick, okay? So there's 2 ways to do this. You can put your hands here out of the way and focus on the kick. You can put your guards up out of the way, or a traditional Japanese way would be just to get the hands out of the way completely. So what I'm going to do for right now is just keep my hands up. Using my back leg, I'm going to throw my kick. And the goal is to put it right back where you had it, right? So you don't want to kick and fall, or you don't want to throw a kick and then bring the leg back and be off balance. You want to focus on this foot doesn't move, that foot kicks, and then you come right back. So guards are up. We're going to do 10 of these. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll repeat the same thing on the other side, again, switching legs. So this leg is in the back, guards are up, out of the way. We're going to do 10 kicks. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are our basic techniques. So one quick review, we'll go through all of them together. So attention, bow, rest position, fighting stance, rising block, chop block, low block. Switch legs, rising block, chop block, low block. Switch legs, jab, cross, front kick, switch legs, jab, cross, front kick. And then back to tension. Those are the requirements for yellow stripe in our beginners program.